Let's imagine this hypothetical situation. You are a teacher who is teaching a course in a particular subject. To your mind, you think that you are the best teacher in the world who can ever teach this subject. Okay? Now, one of your students told you that you are an idiot and you are talking right out of your ass, and he decided to disenroll from the course. So, what would be the best reaction for you to do then? A. Just let him be. B. Try to convince him to get back to the course and prove to him that you are really the best teacher. C. Kill him. So, of course, any sane person will definitely not choose the last option. But Islam does. Islam clearly dictates that Muslims should kill every apostate. This is the opinion of all Muslim scholars, depending on numerous incidents in the Islamic history that tells the story of executing and beheadings of people who had declared abandoning their Islamic beliefs or publicly criticized the Islamic religion or Muhammad.
من سب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مش فلا توبة له لا يقبل منه ويقتل حتى لو تاب.
And there are many hadiths, and hadith is the collection of words or sayings or actions done by Muhammad. So there are many hadiths which clearly order Muslims to kill apostates.
The consensus of all scholars that if a person changes his religion from Islam to any other religion, the punishment should be execution, death.
And I know many of those Muslim apologists will argue that Habibi, that was back in the days when Islam was weak and only a handful of people believed in it. So Muhammad ordered his followers to kill the apostates. So Islam will remain strong in its early days. And it's not valid by today's standards. You will find the same argument when it comes to any extreme Islamic law, that these laws are obsolete and now we deal with Islamic laws that are adaptable with the new world. This argument is invalid for two reasons. One, every Muslim scholar agrees that the basis of Islam comes from the Quran and the Hadith, and anything else is a complete heresy, which means that you cannot change the rules that are clearly stated by the Quran or Muhammad. Two, every Muslim scholar agrees that the rules of Islam works in any place and time, which means it don't need to be changed in the first place. Otherwise it will make Allah or the Islamic God looks unenlightened and cannot foresee the future. That being said, let me give you one simple example in the Islamic history about how Muslims react to apostasy. Following the death of Muhammad and choosing Abu Bakr as the first caliph in the Islamic State, and Caliph means the religious successor of Muhammad in leading the Islamic State. So after choosing him, almost all the tribes that before had declared Islam as their religion and pledged allegiance for Muhammad had declared their renunciation of Islam and going back to their own religious rituals or just refusing to abide by some of the laws that are dictated by Islam. So during the next 2 years, a chain of military campaigns led by Abu Bakr, which was also known by the name of the Wars of Apostasy. These campaigns were meant solely for one purpose: to conquer and subdue all the apostate tribes and force them back to the Islamic religion, no matter how many people would get killed because of that. This is what Allah ordered, and this is what should be done. Although there were arguments by some of his companions that he should only fight the tribes that completely denounced religion, and not the ones that refused to abide by all the Islamic laws. But he refused. He insisted to fight and kill everyone rejects to follow the main laws of Islam. He was driven by the hadith, I was ordered to fight the people until they testify that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. Establish prayer and pay zakat, and if they did all of that, I will spare them their lives and property. I will talk about the concept of zakat in a future video. I remember when I was a young kid and studying this part of Islamic history and studying the character of Abu Bakr, which was commonly known among Muslims as Al-Siddiq, which means the truthful. And I remember how his actions of killing maybe hundreds of apostasies in this chain of wars was being depicted as pure act of heroism. As kids, we didn't question or rationalize these ideas. We just absorbed them as idealistic behaviors, or as the behavior that every Muslim should follow. We didn't question then that these clear Islamic rules simply violates what we now call the freedom of religion, the freedom that should be given to every human being. And here's the twist. If you read the Quran from cover to cover, you will not find any direct order to kill the apostates. In fact, you will find at some points the exact opposite. You will find lots of verses that order the killing of infidels, but not the apostates. So, does that mean that all Muslim scholars are wrong towards that matter? No. And here's why. Muslim scholars believe that the Sunnah, or the Islamic set of laws that are taken from Muhammad's words or actions, are as equally powerful, or sometimes even more powerful, than supposedly Allah's own words written in the Quran. So when Muhammad said, "Kill whoever abandoned Islam," Muslim scholars in this case had to scratch out some of the verses in the Quran that contradicts with what he said and deemed them as useless. In other words, Muhammad as a messenger sometimes knows more than his own gods that he's delivering the message from. And by the way, whoever is watching this and believes that freedom of religion is ethical when it's applied to him only and no one else, then you're a hypocrite and you might need some therapy as well. So now we have this question. Now we have this group of people who believe in a religion that denies the freedom of religion to anyone else except for themselves. So, shall a liberal society give them the freedom that they need to practice and teach the religion until they use it against that society? Well, my answer for this question is freedom of religion is essential for every human being. However, liberal societies should always be aware of the groups that believe otherwise. And by that I mean that no one should be deprived from his right to practice his own religion, but on the other hand, he also should be educated that this right, as many others, are as lawful to him as they are to everyone else. He should be taught how to be a positive member in the society. If not, if he wasn't educated in this way and he was accepted in the liberal society, then he might consider everyone around him as his enemy. So this is the end of my video, but of course I still want to know about your opinions, so don't forget to comment down below. Peace.